instructional process in an RTII model. Response to Instruction and Intervention, or RTII, is a multi-tiered system of supports that enables the early identification of student needs, as well as the opportunity to match the type and intensity of instructional programming to those needs. The instructional process is a critical component of a well-functioning RTII approach.
And why was that your favorite part, Megan? This part?
Yeah.
Why was that your favorite part?
Because all the bunnies were playing.
All of the bunnies were playing, and if you were a bunny in this picture, what game do you think you would be playing?
Quality, evidence-based core instruction and targeted intervention with evaluations of the fidelity of instruction occur at every tier and for all students. This video will provide a framework for the instructional processes within RTII, highlighting key elements of core instruction and tiered levels of support. We will focus on instruction in the area of reading. However, the principles discussed are the foundation of successful instruction across content areas.
Core curriculum.
Core is the prevention. So without a good core, you're going to have to rely on an awful lot of intervention. Core is critical.
Core instruction is the foundation of an RTII model and is vital to the successful functioning of this approach. In an RTII framework, all students participate in the core curriculum. Here, instruction is designed to ensure that all students are able to access the material at varying levels depending on need. However, the key to core instruction is that all students receive the same content. As all students have access to the instructional material, it is critical that schools use high-quality, research-based materials that are aligned with state achievement standards.
An important component of the RTI process or any standards-aligned system is the identification, implementation of research-based programs and teaching methods. And that basically means that these programs and methods have been proven to be successful over time for students.
Within the core curriculum, differentiated instruction is paramount to targeting the diverse learning needs of all students. The background knowledge, readiness, language, and learning preferences of each child must be considered as core instruction is delivered.
What is my word, Lord D?
Canyons.
You're very close. Canyons. Yeah, this is almost a little bit like social studies. All right, remember in social studies we made mountains? Make a mountain. And then go down into the valley. And then go back up another mountain. That low part is a valley, or if it's a really big valley, we call it a canyon. What's the famous canyon in the United States? What are they called? They're very famous. They're huge. Alex, the Grand Canyon. Raise your hand if you've ever been there.
Strategies that facilitate differentiation include direct instruction, scaffolding, small group, and whole group instruction.
Squidward banged on SpongeBob's door. I said, stop playing that song.
Understood the problems.
Should be represented.
Should be represented.
Had separate responsibilities.
Had separate responsibilities.
Oh, what can I call food and water and all these other things that they need? Those are their
Resources.
needs.
Beyond the core curriculum, schools must provide a hierarchy of supports, also known as tiers of instruction or intervention, to meet differing student needs. Tiered instruction is supplemental to core instruction and involves all students. Many schools elect to provide tiered supports during an established period of time each day, sometimes known as tier time or power hour. Students are grouped flexibly, allowing every individual to receive appropriate and differentiated small group instruction delivered at his or her level and pace.
All right, guys, walk quietly in.
It is important to remember that every student receives instruction during this time, regardless of the student's level of performance. An initial step in determining a student's level of need is universal screening. typically conducted 3 times per year, this assessment process helps educators make group decisions about tier placements for all students. For instance, students who meet predetermined benchmarks on screening measures and make adequate progress with exposure to the core curriculum might receive enrichment activities during tier time. On the other hand, when students do not make sufficient progress in the core curriculum, they receive additional intervention support that is matched to their specific needs.
The information that we obtain through the universal screening is information that's very helpful for us in teaching our students. We look at the test results and we see where the student is actually having errors. We look at those errors and we determine if the student has difficulty with beginning sounds, ending sounds, if they have difficulty in obtaining vowels like long vowels, short vowels. So those are important for us when we begin doing our skills groups teaching.
Targeted and intensive supports, or Tier 2 and 3 supports, can be delivered through a standard protocol or problem-solving approach. The state of Pennsylvania recommends a standard protocol approach within RTII. In this approach, schools select various research-validated interventions that are successful for high percentages of students. This menu of interventions differs across schools, but should consist of a variety of programs that are designed to meet a wide range of student needs. A decision-making team should consider the needs of the student or group when selecting interventions, which are subsequently delivered in a standard and consistent manner across students.
We should be looking at doing some intensive reading in place of science, social studies from now to the end of the year, to see if
A problem-solving approach to RTII, on the other hand, utilizes a school-based team to identify needs and develop interventions for students on an individual basis. The remainder of this video will discuss the implementation of supports and interventions across tiers, specifically using the standard protocol model. Tier 1. A large group of students will be successful with continued grade level or above grade level support. These students perform at or above the expected level on benchmark assessments. It is essential to address the needs of all students, including those who are at or above expected levels. This ensures that all students continue to make progress.
Looking at the front cover. What can we learn by looking at the front cover? What questions do you have? What predictions can you make? Maria?
Do they work at a sandwich shop?
Tier 1 also creates an opportunity to provide enrichment for those students who are exceeding expectations. When students do not meet established benchmark goals, they are in need of more targeted intervention support. Tier 2.
If you're hearing the long A sound at the end of the word, it will be spelled A-Y.
Tier 2 supports consist of 30 to 60 minutes of targeted interventions for 3 to 4 days per week. Ideally, Tier 2 groups consist of 4 to 6 students and run for 9 to 12 weeks at a time. Student progress is monitored on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and instructional decisions are based on these data. If data indicate that a student would still benefit from Tier 2 support after 9 to 12 weeks, intervention and progress monitoring can continue.
Write the first letter in the word dot. What letter is that? It's the letter that says duh. What would it be? That's incorrect. That's a B. Middle sound would be aw. So what would that be? Oh, good job, Anna.
I want you to know, also, let's think about how many syllables that word is. How many syllables is that word?
It's only one syllable.
Well, it's only one syllable because the Y is the only vowel. So what's that Y going to say if it's one syllable?
I.
I, very good.
Ready? They display furs, pottery, baskets, quilts, or other goods. First question is it about volunteers? Is it about the volunteers? Yes.
With this level of support, students experience great success. Programs target specific skill deficits or provide holistic instruction that supplements the core curriculum. In either case, the small group setting allows instructional specialists to provide tailored instruction and immediate corrective feedback.
Since students are placed in groups according to need, each student focuses on mastering deficient skills, thus enhancing success. Additionally, students spend more time on difficult activities and have more opportunities to respond than they would in a general education classroom alone.
Beautiful. Number 7.
The nuts are not in the cup.
Read that sentence again for me, please.
The nuts are not in the cup.
Excellent.
Tier 3. Instruction in Tier 3 provides more intensive supports to an even smaller group of students who are demonstrating more severe and complex deficits.
In the word lifted. Let's try another one. Let's try, oh, here's a good one. We're going to slide into this base word. You ready? Here we go. Oh, E says eh. Let's try it again. Smell.
There are several dimensions of instruction that are manipulated at this level. The time, specificity, and/or instructional delivery are all aspects of intervention that can intensify.
We're going to get ready to read the timed rate for lesson 61. So I need you to turn the back.
Group sizes are typically smaller at this level, including between 1 and 4 students, enabling instructors to use more individualized interventions that can target more specialized needs.
Yep, you're going to do that. Good job.
Interventions at this level are usually implemented by highly qualified specialists for a duration of 10 to 20 weeks, during which students are progress monitored weekly.
Oh, no, not faux. It's phone.
A note on fidelity. Fidelity of instruction and intervention is the key to ensuring that instruction is delivered systematically and has the potential to result in strong student outcomes.
An important component of the RTI process is fidelity. Programs and instructional strategies that have proven to be successful over time. So that's a very important piece. It's important from an administrative perspective to ensure that programs are implemented the way they are mapped out to be. So I ensure that through observations of staff members, the evaluation process, the supervision process, and colleagues can also participate in that process by observing themselves and observing their colleagues. And then more often than not, these observations are followed up with feedback sessions where staff members give each other feedback regarding how to improve teaching and learning.
I noticed while reading the main selection story that some students weren't reading successfully at their independent level silently. Did you notice that at all?
I do. That's actually been a challenge for me for a while. I've been seeing that a lot.
Yeah, so let's try to come up with some ideas as to how we can address those issues and make it improve on it.
It is essential that the implementation of the core curriculum and tiered intervention is done with integrity. It is only through correct implementation that one can ensure successful learning and development. This video has demonstrated the instructional process within an RTII model, highlighting the importance of each level of support and how they work interdependently to effectively meet student needs. Though this process varies across settings, it remains successful in maximizing positive student outcomes.